Hello students, so this is now comparing Love's Philosophy with Sonnet 29. This is a homework which I sent my class, but there's other students from different classes watching this video. It's still a useful time to understand the comparison between the two poems, so Love's Philosophy and Sonnet 29. So we'll go ahead with first starting with the tone. So Love's Philosophy and Sonnet 29, we can say a similarity between the tone is that they're both, passionate. So we have Love's Philosophy, of course, that the speaker is passionate about, getting the partner which he desires. And Sonnet 29, I don't think it needs much explanation, but they're certainly passionate and feel a large amount of love and affection for the person they love. How they are different. The tone here, because they're not, I'll give you the word and then explain what it means. So the tone here is more passive. Passive means when it's more vacant, it's more distant, it's not active, it's passive. So instead of acting on their love throughout the poem, instead of actually going off and doing something and committing to something, it's more of a philosophy and a general statement about the meaning of love. So therefore it's more of like a holistic generalization of what love is and the meaning of love. So I could say that the speaker here and the love and affection they have for this person is quite passive because they've not yet acted on it. They just end by saying so should we then start this relationship? Whereas Sonnet 29, the opposite, as I said, of passive, it's more of an active tone. They're willing to fully commit and they desire to commit to that person, as stated halfway through the poem when they said shake me bare and things like that. They are obviously wanting to commit actively to this person. The speaker here, what can we say about the speaker in Love's Philosophy? You could say that they are persuading the lover to commit. A very key thing to understand in this poem and to analyse it in a critical kind of way is understanding the persuasive tone in it. The way there's rhetorical questions, there's metaphors to help them understand their perspective. They've used many devices in order to persuade this person to actually see them as their love match. Then we have the speaker here. They, in some ways, they are they're kind of evaluating the love they have for partner. Or should I say lover again, just to make it simple. So a nice difference, although it's kind of a similarity, is you've got Love's Philosophy is the persuasive speaker, and then you have Sonnet 29 where they're more evaluating. So at the start they're just like, oh yeah, I really do like you, and then halfway down the poem you have actually let's act on it, let's make sure that we make this happen. So moving on, we have the form. So Sonnet 29, I'll start there because it's nice and easy. It's got 14 lines, I believe. Yeah, 14 lines. Because it's literally called a sonnet, it is a type of sonnet. It's not the conventional Shakespearean sonnet where the rhyming is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. Not sure if that's general knowledge to you, but I'm just telling you now that the sonnet isn't typical. I believe that it is. It's an Italian, if you need to know. It's an Italian sonnet. So it breaks away from the stereotype, and I did mention in the video that this might be because instead of using the conventional sonnet, Shakespearean sonnet, which was very often used back in the day, it could show how their love is unique, how their love breaks conventions and rules, maybe how their love is timeless. Then we have Love's Philosophy. It is split into two verses. and same lines. I'm not sure how many lines, but same lines. The form is very structured. So therefore it could show his like logical argument as to why they should be together, to make it seem more organised and his ideas seem more sound. Now, let me see. We've also got with Love's Philosophy. Yeah, there it is. So another thing is to mention is that it's a lyric poem. So it's one that's very emotional. If you remember, that links with the idea of the romantics. And then once again, I'm just double checking if I'm correct, but I think I am. Yes, so then over here, it's not a lyric poem, although it is emotional. It could relate to the speaker, to the poet, which is Elizabeth Barrett Browning. We can say how it's similar is that they do link to ideas of nature as well, so inspired by the romantics. Of nature being overpowered, the way that they've used that extended metaphor of the idea of that tree and the branches and nature. All right, so then we've got structure. So if we are going to focus on... Okay, so let's target a few things. So there's the use of rhetorical questions, which is a persuasive technique, if you guys don't know that already. There is... Yep, so there's the repetition. Once again, a persuasive technique. It seems quite demanding, forceful almost. You've got also, they have used enjambment. Maybe to show that their love is continuous love. This is just 2 examples of persuasive techniques, but there are more. I'm just giving you a few of structural examples. So these 2 are persuasive techniques. Wicked. And then we've got Sonnet 29. Okay, so a structure that we can use there. Okay, so once again, there's the use of enjambment. Maybe you could tie it with a commonality between the 2 poems, how they're both using enjambment to show how their love is never ending, it's continuous, breaks boundaries, all that soppy stuff. Show the continuous love. Although Love's Philosophy uses it, I feel like this poem, Sonnet 29, uses this technique a little bit more purposefully. Caesura, so it's worthwhile actually noting that. It could show how overwhelmed they are of the love. But also, if you remember, and I'm just really quick going to show you to the poem, where it says burst, shattered everywhere. If you remember where I was awkwardly trying to explain how it could almost hint at the idea of hitting a climax or orgasm in some way, some sort of sexual innuendo or suggestion there. It uses, that's another structural device, which is the syllables, so the use of syllables, but Caesura makes us stop just in this quotation, and then we go on to say da 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 da. Okay, so the Caesura, everyone of their love, it highlights serious tone. There's also a huge amount, you could mention in structure for Sonnet 29, there's a huge amount of punctuation. You've got loads of exclamation marks. In comparison, actually, I'm going to make this a note. So there are exclamation marks, which could show loss of control in emotion, like they're overwhelmed. And this is a nice comparison, really good comparison, actually. If I can say so myself, with the question marks, lots of question marks that are used in love's philosophy. So you have the idea of the loss of control in Sonnet 29 through this use of punctuation, the exclamation marks, whereas in contrast, love's philosophy also uses punctuation to express emotion. However, their emotion seems more controlled and more thought through. Hopefully my notes aren't too messy. So as I have said, this camera is so wobbly. As I've said, Sonnet 29, we've got the extended metaphor of the tree and to show how their love is natural, to show how they have a close tie to one another. You have the vines going about the tree. And then we have love's philosophy. The language and techniques, I would just make a very broad note and just say that there's loads of persuasive techniques. And they use loads of metaphorical language, metaphors / personification. And why do they use that? So for me, they use these two techniques in order to show how their love is acclaimed or is desired by the fate of nature. Oh, what wrong? Of nature. Okay, and then Sonnet 29, we could just stick with that extended metaphor and makes it nice and easy. So the themes here, I would say, is, well, obviously both themes would be love. Love. Commitment is in both. I'd say they actually share pretty similar themes. You might want to say in some ways, I guess, love's philosophy, then you could argue this, but there's the idea of, I guess, a theme coming through, which is control. And this person wanted to gain control of their lover's affection for them and then wanted to form some sort of argument as to why that person should want to have them. Whereas in Sonnet 29 we very much get in contrast to love's philosophy, we get the idea that their relationship, or the speaker certainly, doesn't have the same control as the speaker in love's philosophy. So Sonnet 29 is more emotional, potentially you could argue because it is written by a female. So you've got a female speaker and then you've got a male speaker. That's another difference for you. You could argue that maybe it's because they're conveyed as a stereotype of a woman, someone who's overly emotional, whereas the male here is projected as being quite logical and rational in his thought. I hope that this helps you in your homeworks, guys. Let me know if there's any questions I haven't answered. Thank you. Bye.